Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am your host, Josh Davis, also known as Crash. Today is Thursday, January 19th, 2023, and I am here to go over tonight's 4-game slate in the NBA. If you're new to the channel, if you would hit the like button and then hit subscribe. And after you've done those two things, if you will hit the alarm bell, that will let you know when our newest podcast has gone live. If you're new to DFS Coach Talk, we have an excellent deal for you right now. You can actually join for a week for free. You go to dfscoachtalk.com and you can join for a week for free right now as part of our NFL playoff special. I'm going to be posting the coupon code to sign up for a week for free here in a second in the comments. So you can definitely be looking for that. Like I said, it's a 4-game slate in the NBA tonight. We've got, not a whole lot of injury news that we have to worry about here. There's a couple pieces of information that I'm waiting on, but for the most part, I feel like we've got most information that we'll need. The first game tonight, we have at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, the Golden State Warriors at the Boston Celtics. Boston is favored by 6.5. They are 33-12, while Golden State is 22-22, right at 500. This game has the highest over-under of the night at a 240.5 over-under. For the Warriors, you've got JaMychal Green, Andre Iguodala, Jonathan Kuminga, and James Wiseman are out. Looks like Jaylen Brown will play for the Celtics. He went through the warm-ups, and everything I've seen from him looks like he's going to be on track to play. So I do expect him to play tonight, and then Gallinari is still out for Boston. For the Warriors, their projected starting lineup: Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Kevon Looney. For the Celtics, Marcus Smart, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford. So both teams getting pretty healthy here as we get ready to go into the All-Star break. So for me in this game, actually not a whole lot that I like in this game, honestly. I know it has a high over-under, but if we look at the recent matchups between these two teams, none of these players have really been putting up huge numbers. You go back to the NBA Finals, and you can see that as well. There's a few games every now and then where like Tatum had like 50, 55, somewhere around there. But for their price, I just feel like we can keep that more balanced approach like we did last night and have more success. So you've got on the Celtics side, if Jaylen Brown plays, I do like him a little bit. He's only 8,300 on FanDuel. That's the main site where I'm targeting him. I also like Marcus Smart. He's 6,500 on DraftKings, 6,300 on FanDuel, $22 on YAHOO. The Warriors have really struggled against point guards this year. They've allowed the 5th most fantasy points to them. And last year, or actually this year, excuse me, that's this year that they've allowed the 5th most fantasy points to point guards. But for the last 5 games, Marcus Smart has averaged 38.5 DraftKings points against Golden State at home. So pretty solid sample there. A few of those games were in the finals, of course. And so if we can get, 35 to 40 from him, especially at 6,500, 6,300 on FanDuel and $22 on YAHOO, I think that's pretty good value. The reason that I'm probably not going to be playing Tatum is with Jaylen Brown back. I just don't feel like I have to go there. Now, if Jaylen Brown is out for whatever reason, then, I will probably be playing Tatum in a lineup or two. But if Jaylen Brown plays, I'm not going to go to Tatum. Next game, we have at 8 o'clock Eastern, the Toronto Raptors at the Minnesota Timberwolves. Toronto's 20-25. The Timberwolves are 22-24. Toronto is favored by 5.5. Game has a 231 over-under. For the Timberwolves, I would expect Rudy Gobert to be out again tonight. I don't think he's going to play. Same thing could be true with Anthony Edwards. He's listed as questionable, so they could be without both of those guys. I'm guessing that's probably why Toronto's favored by 5.5. Minnesota looked pretty good last night against Denver, so I think they can definitely win this game if Anthony Edwards plays. But the plays that I'm looking – well, first of all, the starting lineups for Toronto, you've got Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, and Pascal Siakam. For the Timberwolves, D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards if he plays, Jaden McDaniels, Kyle Anderson, and then Rudy Gobert. I don't think he's going to play, so that's definitely going to put Naz Reid into play again like we had last night. So, yeah, for the Raptors, I think Siakam's in a pretty good spot. He's 9,700 on DraftKings, 9,300 on FanDuel, $41 on Yahoo. Minnesota's allowed the fourth most fantasy points to power forwards this year, and he's averaged right over 45 DraftKings points the last 5 times that he's faced Minnesota. So I like Siakam. I also like Fred VanVleet. He's been playing really well the last couple of games, especially against Milwaukee and New York. He had over 60 fantasy points. He's 8,100 on DraftKings, 7,900 on FanDuel, $31 on Yahoo. And I also like the other guard, the 2 guard, Gary Trent Jr. He's been playing really well lately too. He's 6,600 on DraftKings, 7,000 on FanDuel, and $23 on Yahoo. On the Minnesota side, there's not really a whole lot that I like except for Naz Reid. Let me go ahead and check what his ownership looks like. I'm sure he's probably projected to be pretty high, assuming that Gobert is going to be out. So actually, I'll go ahead and give you guys all the top ownership like we did yesterday with Coach. So right now, it looks like the top projected owned player is Saben Lee from the Suns. He's only 3,200 on DraftKings. And after him, you have Josh Hart at 33.5%, Precious Achiuwa, 31.6%, Anthony Edwards at 24.3%, Joel Embiid, 23%, Anthony Simons, 22.8%, Andrew Wiggins, 21.1%, Taurean Prince, 20.6%, Kyle Anderson, 20.3%, Scotty Barnes, Taurean Prince, 20.8%, Scotty Barnes is 20.3%, Jaden McDaniels, 19.6%, Draymond Green, 19.3%, OG Anunoby, 18.6%, and Fred VanVleet, 18%. So Jason Tatum's a little bit down. He's only 17%. So I think people are picking up on that with Jaylen Brown probably back. Their ownership's not going as much to him. On FanDuel, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but Saben Lee is 63.7% projected owned on DraftKings, but he's 3,200, so he's so cheap. At FanDuel, you've got Saben Lee at 69.5%. He's 4,000 over there. Kyrie Irving is the second highest projected owned player at 34.8. Then you have Anthony Edwards, Marcus Smart, Pascal Siakam, Precious Achiuwa, Fred VanVleet, D'Angelo Russell, Jaylen Brown, Cameron Johnson, who's coming back for Phoenix tonight. I like him. He's 4,500 on FanDuel. DeAndre Ayton, Al Horford, Ben Simmons, Josh Hart, Royce O'Neal, Mikal Bridges, and OG Anunoby. On Yahoo, Anthony Edwards is at top. He's at 39.2%. Then you have Saben Lee at min price $10, 37.8. Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons, Damian Lillard, Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, DeAndre Ayton, Nicholas Claxton, Fred VanVleet, Kyle Anderson, Gary Trent Jr., Royce O'Neal, Marcus Smart, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, Torrey Craig, Anthony Simons, and Seth Curry. So that's a quick look at the ownership. If we go back to the game that we were looking at, it's going to start at 10 p.m. Eastern between the Brooklyn Nets and the Phoenix Suns. Brooklyn is 27-16. Phoenix is 21-24. They just haven't been able to stay healthy, so it's really hurt them this year so far. Brooklyn's favored by 3. They have a 220.5 over under. Kyrie Irving is going to be back for Brooklyn tonight, so that should give them a lift. They missed him the other night. So the projected starting lineup for the Nets, you've got Kyrie Irving, Joe Harris, Royce O'Neal, Ben Simmons, and Nicholas Claxton. For the Suns, I see Dwayne Washington Jr. projected to start, so we're going to have to see what happens there. With the ownership, you would think that Saben Lee was going to be starting, but we'll see what happens. So Dwayne Washington Jr., Mikal Bridges, Torrey Craig, Dario Saric, and DeAndre Ayton is the current projected starting lineup for Phoenix, with Devin Booker, Jay Crowder, Josh Okogie is out tonight, Chris Paul out, Cameron Payne out, and Landry Shamet is also out. So for me in this game, I don't like Kyrie Irving. Phoenix has done really well against point guards. Just recently, you can look and see their matchups. They haven't allowed anyone to score 50 fantasy points against them recently. And you're going to need at least that for Kyrie's price tag. So not going to be going to Kyrie. I do like Nicholas Claxton a little bit. He's 7,400 on DraftKings, 7,500 on FanDuel, and $26 on Yahoo. As I mentioned, Saban Lee, super chalky. He's 3,200 on DraftKings, 4,000 on FanDuel, and $10 on Yahoo. Then you have Cam Johnson, who's coming tonight. He's probably going to be on a minutes restriction, so you have to keep an eye on that. But at 4,500 on FanDuel, I think that's a good enough price that we don't have to worry too much about his minutes restriction. If we can get even 30 fantasy points, I think we're doing good. And then if Dwayne Washington Jr. starts, I know the other night Coach and I played him and he didn't even play at all. So if he starts, he's in play because he's 5,000 on DraftKings, 4,300 on FanDuel, and $15 on Yahoo. Let me go ahead and check the chat real quick and see what questions you guys have. Yeah, the Raptors have been looking pretty good for DFS, especially. They don't play a lot of defense. They shoot a lot of threes and they allow a lot of threes. So definitely something that you can take a look at. Probably D'Angelo Russell. I didn't mention him, but he's definitely in play if Anthony Edwards is out. The last game of the night, we have the Philadelphia 76ers at the Portland Trailblazers. Philadelphia comes in at 28-16. They're playing very well right now. Portland's 21-23, so just trying to get back to 500. Philadelphia is only favored by 2. That's a little surprising to me. They looked really good against the Clippers the other night, and I would expect Philadelphia to win this game pretty handily. It's a 233 over-under. The projected starting lineup, Philadelphia doesn't have anybody on their injury report. Projected starting lineup, James Harden, DeAnthony Melton, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, Joel Embiid. And then for the Blazers, Yusuf Nurkic looks like he is questionable, but likely to play. He's been upgraded to probable now. Okay, so he's likely to play. Probable, I'm going to assume he's going to play. And then Gary Payton II is also probable, likely to play. So those two should be playing. And then Justice Winslow is out. So they got their projected starting lineup: Damian Lillard, Anthony Simons, Josh Hart, Jeremy Grant, and Yusuf Nurkic. And I like Joel Embiid a lot. He's my favorite player on the slate. He's 11,000 on DraftKings, 11,500 on FanDuel, 53 on Yahoo. The Blazers have allowed the 5th most fantasy points to centers this year. He had 53.8 DraftKings points the last time he faced Portland, and I think that he can get probably 60 to 70 tonight. I think he can have a really big night tonight. I also like James Harden. I know he let everybody down the other night with one of his worst games of his career. He had like 4 or 6 points, 6 points. Just a terrible game. I think he bounces back in a big way tonight. This is just the way DFS works. He had 62.8 DraftKings points the last time he faced Portland, and I just think that he's going to bounce back. Tobias Harris is another play that I like on Philadelphia. He's 6,100 on DraftKings, 6,900 on FanDuel, and $25 on Yahoo. The only player I like on Portland, though, is Damian Lillard going up against James Harden. He should definitely be able to take advantage of him. He's 10,000 on DraftKings and FanDuel, $39 on Yahoo. He's averaged 56.7 DraftKings points his last 5 games. His last game against Denver on Tuesday, he had 61.8. So I think this is definitely a 55 to 60 type fantasy point night for Damian Lillard. For PrizePicks, we've got Jason Tatum more than 4 assists. He averaged 7 assists per game against Golden State in the finals last year. And with Jaylen Brown back, I think he'll definitely have more of a facilitator role than he's had in the last few games without Brown. So I do like Tatum's assist at more than 4. And then, as I mentioned, James Harden, I think he bounces back. I like his over at 44.5 fantasy score. I think he's going to have, right around 50, maybe a little bit more tonight. Don't see any more questions. This is going to be a pretty quick podcast, guys. We've only got 4 games. Definitely stay tuned. We're going to have a lot for you guys this weekend. I'm going to try and do some single game stuff with the NFL playoffs, if at all possible. If Steve and I can pull that off, I think we can. Of course, we'll have the regular 2-game lineups on Saturday and Sunday, and then all our NBA content as well. I think Coach might be back with me tomorrow. I'm not sure on that. I'll have to check, but hopefully he will be, because I really like when Coach is on the podcast. It's just a lot more of a flow and everything. And Deb is still in Mexico, so I know she won't be on it tomorrow. But hope everybody has a great night. Let me know in Discord if you guys have any other questions. Once again, if you haven't joined us at DFS Coach Talk, you can join us this week for free. That reminds me, I do need to post that coupon. 1 second here. And once again, we've got a later start on the locks, so that's good at 7:30 Eastern again. So I'm enjoying that extra 30 minutes for sure. Here we go. That is the coupon code, and I'll put it up here for a minute for you guys to take a look at that. Hope everybody has a great night. Let's absolutely crush it. I love these kind of slates, these smaller slates. I can really solidify and isolate the plays that I like the most. So I like the 4 to 5 game slates. They're my favorite. Hope everybody has an awesome night, and we'll be back again tomorrow when we look to crush it in NBA, DFS, and PrizePicks. Thank you.